First question for you guys. When you came into high school, what did your relationship with Jesus look like? When you came into high school, what did your relationship with Jesus actually look like?
We're gonna just start on this side.
Okay.
We can work our way down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you're all sweating up here.
Yeah, I'm.
This is not
When
the move.
I first came into high school, I was not Christian. I gotta like breathe. I'll be taking breathe breaks, just so you know. I called myself a Christian, but I think I didn't really know what it meant to live like a Christian, and I didn't have an example really for what a Christian lifestyle was. So I would definitely say that I was lost and I didn't know how to follow God, even though I said I did, and if I thought logically that I did believe in Jesus, I didn't know what it meant to do that. So.
For sure. By the way, this is Ava, Abigail, Jeremiah, and Isabella, and Caleb. Just so you guys know who some of our senior students are, as we're talking. So, anyways, all right. Who's next?
Hi guys, I'm Abigail. I would say that going in as a freshman, yes, I believed in God. I had recently got baptized in 8th grade, so I was riding that Jesus high, but I didn't really do any practices. So yes, I believed in God, and yes, I went to youth group, but if I'm going to be honest, it was still kind of for the snacks and not kind of for the message, and that's not a crime. And that's not a crime if that's the reason why you go to youth group, because you're here anyways, so that's what's important. But I didn't really read my Bible, I didn't really listen to worship music, so I was a Christian, but I didn't really do anything to further my faith. So I didn't go backwards, but I didn't necessarily go forwards either.
For sure.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. When I was a freshman, I had been going to church with my family for my entire life. I just didn't prioritize it very well though, so I just kind of went to church, did all the church things, went to all the events with people and new people, but I didn't really spend time to get to know God on my own or read my Bible, and that impacted me later when things happen in life. And yeah, so that's kind of where it started in freshman year though.
So wait,
Just hold it.
Just hold on.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, because the tiny one is so that the camera hears the audio.
You're good.
Okay, well, when I first went into high school, so I was raised within the church, so nothing was it was out of habit. And so in 8th grade, I kind of turned away from church and turned away from the Lord. And so when I actually went into high school, I really had a rocky relationship. It was almost like no relationship, and that was not a good time in my life. So that's where I started with in high school.
Okay. Hey guys, I'll try to make it through this. Let's see. I would say toward the end of middle school, I believed in God, but it was very impersonal, and I had a lot of doubt. My life was riddled with a lot of doubt in the existence of God, and also in His presence and His involvement in the world. I kind of felt like I felt very alone. I didn't have a lot of friends in middle school leading into high school, and I had been praying a lot for that. I didn't really feel any answers. So it was both feeling kind of doubt for His existence and also kind of doubt for His providence as well.
Fantastic. All right. So that's question number one. Second question, kind of on that.
Thanks.
Was there a moment or season when your faith became real to you, not just something you grew up with, or something that you you go from this, we talk about here, we talk about this idea of ownership of your own faith. When was that moment that your faith was yours and you took ownership of following Jesus for you? And what did that look like for you?
You can go first.
So I would say the very first moment that I took God as my own is when I had a friend in middle school who was very suicidal, and when God saved her from suicide, I decided that I wanted to give my life to Christ. I got baptized in 8th grade, but I wouldn't say that that's really when my faith became my own, because I didn't really practice going into high school, so I would really say my faith didn't really really become my own until 7 or 8 months ago, when I got out of a pretty bad relationship, pretty lustful relationship, and I feel like that's when my faith kind of became more real to me and became what I call my faith now.
It's good.
Can I go first? Or second?
Okay.
I can't count.
I don't normally share my testimony a lot because it is kind of unbelievable, and I've had people like laugh at me or like, you're brainwashed or whatever, people who aren't Christian. But what I did is I was like breaking down and I was freaking out, and I had we just came back from Ohio at my grandparents' house. And at her house, I just grabbed this book called Jesus Calling, if anybody's ever heard of it. And I just opened it randomly when I was like freaking out, and it said boldly at the top of the page, it said, "Come to me." And I was like, and so I flipped the page, and the next page said, "Come to me," and I kept flipping the pages, and every page said, "Come to me" at the top. And then I like put it down, and I like went back on the bed, and I was just like, like what? And then my mom came in the room, and she was like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening right now? And I explained to her what happened, and this is the only time that I've felt like someone was really, or God was really speaking through someone, is she said, "He's calling you." And then there was like silence, and just like, whoa. And I think that's when I like started to like, okay, I need to look into this more and figure out more about my faith.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I think for me, when I saw my faith becoming my own, I can kind of pinpoint a time. It was the summer camp in between 10th and 11th grade. I just remember being in a really rough spot, like just doubting God and wondering if He could, like if He was even there. Like it just felt like I was struggling alone. And I don't know, that camp really helped me out. They had some really good preachers and speakers there. I would recommend going to church camps if you can. Please do, because that got me out of my dark spot for sure. Orange juice? Oh, Logan, you're the best, bro. Thank you, bro. Oh, this looks great. It's like,
No.
oh, thank you, Caleb.
With the doctor.
The scissors. Logan, you're not the scissors. They like.
It's okay.
I should
Yeah.
keep them for this. How many
Really? My mouth is still burning though. I'm okay.
Ooh,
Wait.
this is good. Oh, it's great. This is so funny.
Orange juice does
Just a
work, by
little
the way.
mid-message snack.
Hey, yeah, the orange juice is really good, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's great. Alright, continue on, Jeremiah.
But
Get cut out of the podcast. Okay?
but yeah, I think
Good.
yeah, I just think that camp definitely helped me just like realize that I need to make this my own thing. Like start talking to God, spending time with Him alone, reading the Bible every day, praying to Him. It was just kind of like a wake-up call because I knew I should have done it. But it was kind of that, like what you were saying, that like come to me moment where I was like, that's where I need to be seeking, like what I should be seeking.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, so I was definitely raised in a very Christian household, and I'm super grateful for that, but it made it kind of routine, and so it took a while for me to realize kind of the reality of it. And so I'd say probably the first time I really started thinking about a life lived with Christ and Christ through me was when my dad was helping me walk through this, it was like a packet on baptism, because I was considering getting baptized. And Pastor Gene, who used to be the lead pastor here, gave us a packet to go through for me to consider all these things and like make sure I actually wanted to do this. And I went through it, and he helped me realize, he helped me see kind of what a life, that everything you do and the way that you act, the way that you talk, the way that you interact with other people is submitted to Jesus. And I think that's like the first time I really thought, oh, it'd be cool to have that for myself. And then there's been little moments and little things at camp and all that's helped me through that and helped me grow to be at that point. But that's the first time I really realized I wanted it, I think.
Yeah.
So when my faith became my own was between sophomore summer going into junior year, that camp, which is cliche because it's the camp high. But it really did impact me because I had been praying for a long time to just like get a sense of community and friends because I moved during middle school, so then I went to a different high school than I would have gone to from my childhood school. And so that left me like completely alone feeling that I had no friends, and I was kind of like that stereotypical new kid loner. And so just like that transition sophomore into junior year, the camp, just like I got a sense of community through Nick, the youth pastor, and then also Maddie and Heidi. So definitely surrounding myself with those mentors and community members really just helped me come out of that shell and blossom and take that habit and turn it into practice and application instead of just like, this is my internal faith. I got to express it outwardly, and I definitely noticed a difference because people always ask me like, oh, how are you so happy? Like, how are you like optimistic about that? And then even like a small example is at prom. I showed up to prom and I was having the time of my life, and people thought I was high or drunk, and I was like, nope, I'm high and drunk off of Jesus. That, and they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, you can have fun without having to do anything. So.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Amen to that. Okay, next question for you all. Talking about lies. What is a lie that you believed at some point in high school that you realize now wasn't actually true all along?
When I was more of a baby Christian, I think. Okay. I mean, okay.
That's not us making fun of you. I just think
No,
it's
no.
cute.
I was baptized last year.
Yeah.
But I think like newer into my faith before I was baptized, I think the devil was definitely attacking me and was lying to me, and I thought, like, what if I'm not good enough to get into heaven?
Yeah.
You know, like, what if I'm not doing enough? Until one day I saw, like, someone just explained it so well, was just, it's not what you did, it's what Jesus did. So if you don't think you're good enough to get into heaven, you're really saying that Jesus isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And you're saying what God did wasn't good enough. And that hit me. I was like, because obviously Jesus is good enough.
Yeah.
So it's like took the focus off of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was I think it was one of my messages here. We're talking about the fact that that we on our own will never be good enough, and that's actually a good thing. Because if it's about us trying to be good enough, we're never going to achieve it, and always going to be trying, always going to be searching, and never find this place where you come to this place where you realize it's actually what Jesus has done, not what I can do in my own hands. That's a profound thing, because I think most people, I would imagine most people in this room have struggled with that very thought too, so it's a very real thing.
Hi. I don't know, I just want to break the silence. I feel like one of the lies that the devil has not only told me, but continues to tell me to this day that I know is false, but sometimes it's just hard to believe that it's false, is that I will only ever be of use for what I can give on the outside. Because I find that I've just been in relationships with people that have just not been very fruitful, very one-sided, very not equally yoked, and that has just caused like a lot of usage, not only like in lustful ways, but in emotional and manipulative ways.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's how the devil gets in my mind most, is that I will only ever be used and never actually like loved in that way.
I think for me, I thought too much, like growing up, especially early in high school. I cared way too much what other people thought about me. It just made me really scared to like get myself out there, because I was just always like so like weighed down by like any like looks, any thoughts, like anything that I thought other people were thinking of me. It just like held me back so much from getting into any sort of community. I think those were definitely lies from the devil for sure. Just like that I wasn't, just like, I don't know, I would just like tell myself that I wasn't able to fit in. And so I would just purposefully like stay back. And I just wouldn't really put myself out there very much until after the summer camp. That I kind of realized I need to, fix my faith.
It's good.
A lie that I believed was just the stereotype, like the high school experience, getting the full experience, like the worldly view on what high school looks like and how you should go about your high school experience, meaning like parties and stuff like that. It's really not all that. And like when you think about it, it's just like fun in the moment, but it's really like the next day you're like, why did I do that? And like I go to church and I have these friends, and then I'm going to like a party because my other friend wants me to go, but it's really not fun. Like it's more fun to just go play pickleball with your youth group and build those long-lasting relationships rather than getting your 5-minute conversation with someone who's popular who's not going to remember your conversation the next day in school. Like, so just like the worldly aspect, like it's just don't believe in that.
You guys need to get my marketing team. I don't need to do anything. Just like share why youth are so awesome.
It is. Yeah. I'd say the biggest lie I believed was probably that I wasn't wanted by people, I think. Just in terms of friendships, I think in middle school especially, and I think COVID was a really big part in this, but I think additionally just like I was very socially anxious. And I cared a lot about how other people looked at me, and I also thought that other people were happy with the friends groups they were in. They're happy with the friends they're in, they didn't need me, and me joining into their friend groups that already existed would kind of just be like an annoyance. And I kind of just like drew back because I was like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to annoy people like that. I don't want to put myself in those uncomfortable situations for them. But what helped me realize, how to help me improve at that is actually just realizing that a lot of that is actually just in your head. I know that's like stereotypical, but people actually do appreciate it when you go out and talk to them and have genuine conversations and want to actually do things with them. And once you get past the fear that they're thinking things about you that aren't good, which probably isn't happening, once you get past that fear, it makes it a lot easier to build that community, and that community is so important because it'll get you through the rest of your high school once you do find it.
Absolutely. That's good. All right, next one. What's something small that you start doing that made a big difference spiritually in your life? Because I think the reason I wanted you guys to answer this is I think sometimes, as you guys are listening right now, and as we've read stories from like Abraham and Moses and all these people, sometimes it feels so impossible to get to the place where some of these people we read about, like I could never have that type of faith. But I think it's a million small steps in one direction that make a big difference rather than one giant leap. And so if you think of one of those 1 million steps that you've made, what's something small that's made such a big difference in your life and your faith with Christ?
For me, I think it was spending time with God, like not just praying to Him, but sitting with Him.
Yeah.
And instead of just talking at Him or to Him, I guess, but stopping and listening and waiting and just being in His presence. And I think like my love language is a good chunk quality time, and I just love that quality time with God because you can think like He'll sit with you whenever for however long you want, and that's just like that feels so loving to me.
Yeah. And
that reminded me of a story which was in Ohio, and I was at my grandparents' house, and my grandpa plays piano, and I absolutely love piano, but I can't play piano. And I'm like enamored by it, and he can play piano. So we were like sitting at the piano and we were looking through all the songs. And I was like, oh, can you play Moonlight Sonata? And he played Moonlight Sonata. And then I was like, can you play it again? And then he played it again. I was like, can you play it again? Like saying it kind of as a joke in case he wanted to stop, but I wanted him to play it again. And he played it again so many times that it's 11 p.m. and he's an old guy and I'm a 17-year-old granddaughter. I'm not even his biological granddaughter. And it's just, I don't know, that was so like, I felt like that was loving to me. And I felt like, oh, you took out time just for something that I wanted, even if maybe it wasn't something that you wanted, just to spend time with me. And I feel like that love when like God will sit with me for however long I want, just to be with me. And I can just, sometimes I'll pray and just be like, "Dear Lord," and then I'll just like sit there and I like won't even say anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah.
That's great. I love it.
I feel like majority of people normally say reading their Bible or praying. Like, I feel like we have all heard, like, oh, if you want to get closer to God, read your Bible, pray. But I feel like sometimes those can come off as very big things. Like if you sit down and read your Bible, oh, I need to read the whole chapter. Or if I sit down and pray, I need to be sitting in my room on my bed about to pray, or sitting on my knees in my room about to pray. And I feel like my biggest realization that helped me grow in my faith, oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps. My biggest realization that helped me grow in my faith is realizing that it doesn't have to be that serious. Reading your Bible can be reading a singular Bible verse a day. Praying can be like, hey God, I pray today's a good day. Like it doesn't have to be a long drawn out thing. It doesn't have to be a chore, and don't make it a chore, because if you make it a chore, then you won't want to do it. Yeah. Like me, I read my Bible every day, and sometimes I read 20 to 30 verses. I read a whole chapter, and other days I'm like, wow, I just cannot get myself to read my Bible today. I'll listen to a devotional on my way to school. I'll read the singular verse of the day, and I'm like, okay, I spent at least some time with God today. So I feel like just carving out time to spend just even like 5 seconds with God, being like, God, thank you for waking me up today. And like your prayers don't have to be long, they don't have to be drawn out, but I think like the intimacy of just at least like saying I spent at least a little bit of time with God today, I feel like the little bits add up.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, and it's better than being like, oh, I don't have time again. Oh, I don't have time again. Oh, I don't have time.
You make time for the things that you want to make time for, so make time for Jesus.
Amen. Yeah, it's true.
I would say something very similar for me. I think it was just like consistency in reading the Bible and the prayer. That kind of helped me out. It's kind of interesting. You once you get into like a habit of reading it like several times, you sort of like you desire it more, and I think that's the Holy Spirit in us. It makes it feel like less of a chore. I mean, if you wake up every morning and like you look at it as a chore, like kind of what you were saying, like you're gonna view it that way. But if you look at it as just like a place to grow and a great way to spend time to like get to know God better, and also sitting with Him alone helped me a lot. Just like listening for His voice, and just like prayer beyond just like a 2-minute prayer. It's like sitting down and just praying for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, saying a sentence every couple minutes, and just like sitting there and thinking, and just letting the Lord guide you in your thoughts. That seems to have been a small thing, seemingly small thing that
Absolutely.
really helped me out.
A small thing I did was just to pray for the right relationships and friendships to stay in my life, and for the ones that were harming me or just like making me just not be who I wanted to be, to just leave. And that is such a small thing that just explodes your entire life, because you, like who you're around and who you surround yourself with is who you're going to become. You're going to talk like them. You pick up their language, you pick up their actions, you even pick up their mentality, like how they think. You'll start to think like them. And so that's a huge, like that just like is a huge impact on who you like are growing to be throughout high school. So when I started praying that prayer, I saw the people who left and I was like, oh, well, that's for the better. And then I saw the people who stayed and who I gained, and that was just so much more and such a blessing, because the people that stayed completely changed my life from junior to senior year. And a year is a long time, but it's a short period in high school, but it definitely changed for the better, and it has definitely changed who I am and who I like, how I think and how I act. So
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I don't know how to say this. I think the reading your Bible and praying, obviously, if you get into a consistent habit with that, that's the most important thing to focus on, and it helped me a lot. But I think what you need to realize is that doing that, it grows you closer to God, and it also, that's a good thing, but it also just expands your knowledge. And I think what you need to do is take that and actually apply it. And so for me, what I was able to do to grow in my faith, once I kind of hit a roadblock, even though I was being consistent with my reading and my praying and feeling like I really was spending time with God and being fulfilled by that, I kind of was stagnant. And I think what helped me a lot was being intentional and consistent about reaching to others with Jesus' love. Because that compassion and just like all of the ways that you can make people feel seen and realize how different people live who really know Jesus, it's just like it makes a world of difference, and it helps your faith more than you would even imagine too. So
absolutely. Okay, for this next question, I want you to think of what you would say in like a sentence or two, just because I want to keep it moving. But what advice would you give someone who wants to follow Jesus but doesn't know where to start? In like a sentence or two. I know you probably wrote down more for some of you, but if you could just like refine it down, what's something that you would share with somebody who's like, man, I want this relationship with Jesus. How do I get that? Like, how do I get there? Because when I thought of this question, I was like, that's the person I was. I was like asking, like, how do I do this? Like, I don't know where to start. What do I do? Like, how do I make this happen? Because it just felt so unreachable. But you all are living examples of that it is possible. And so, like, what's something that you might say, just a few sentences, like, what would you say to somebody who's in that place?
I said kind of what you've been saying about baby steps, but also like focusing on the basics, like reading your Bible and praying, things like that. I think a lot of times when you're starting out, you see all the external products, which is like being really big in worship or going to a lot of youth groups or like all this stuff that's just the external product, and that's all the fluff. And I think sometimes when you're a newer Christian, you're striving for the fluff, and you should be starting with the basics and always keeping the basics strong.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing that helped me with most was find your community. Yeah. I have two best friends who are Christian. I hang out with them all the time. Their names are Izzy and Riley. And I literally wrote down on my piece of paper, find your Izzy and Riley. Find the people that make you feel good about being yourself, people you can be your genuine, authentic self with, and find a good Christian community. Yeah. Make sure those people are rooted in your values, because they're going to turn you into better people.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with the finding a Christian community, but also so that I'm going to just use her point as my first one. But then the second one, I think, is like get yourself involved in church. Talk to your small group leaders, ask questions. If something that you're studying in the Bible doesn't really make sense, ask them, because they'll give you the answer, and if they don't have it, I promise you they'll do their best to find that answer for you. You have Richard to talk to, anything that's going on in your life, and take advantage of that, because I know Jared and Eric have been out there. I don't know where you guys are, I can't really see, but yeah, you guys have been very important to me, and thank you for spreading your wisdom. You guys are amazing.
Stay curious, be open to change, and find a mentor.
That's good.
Yeah, I echo the community, and I echo finding a mentor, because especially if you're new to the faith, I think that you're going to have a lot of questions, and you need to seek those answers, otherwise you're not going to find them. And those mentors also, if they can't find the answers, they'll also be praying for you too, to find them. Jared and Eric have been like monumental parts of my growth, and Juan as well, and I'm just so grateful for both of you.
Solid students. Okay, I know I had more questions I asked you. I do want to just, with our time, I'd love, if any of you have a question you want to ask these guys, we have just a few minutes for a few questions. Just if you have anything you'd like to ask some people who are graduating high school of what it looks like to follow Jesus, if you were to ask them anything, whatever you want to ask. If not, it's totally cool. But if there's something you want to ask, go for it.
Maddie?
What are you most looking forward to for the future, these next 4 years in college?
I'm really looking forward to the challenges. And I think if I didn't really love hardship, I wouldn't be going to the academy. But I'm just so excited for how hard it's going to be and how hard it is. I know there's some very worldly things going on. There's also very Christian people, and I'm just excited for all the challenges that God's going to throw at me.
Going on mission trips.
Do you guys have an answer?
You can start.
Well, that's hard. Kind of putting me on the spot, but I think I'm just kind of excited for the growth that I'm going to experience. Like right now, I don't have a set path quite yet, but I have like a good plan, and I'm just like really praying and wrestling with God, like trying to figure out if that's His plan for me. So I'm kind of like looking forward, kind of what she was saying actually, like looking forward to the challenges and like the growth, and knowing that it's going to be good for me and just building me into a better person. But it is still scary, and I still struggle with that. So.
I was going to say the same thing, growth, because I was shocked by how different of a person I am now from freshman year of high school. I mean, I was thinking middle school to high school, yeah, it's going to be different, but freshman to senior, I didn't realize how much I would change and how much I would grow. And so I'm realizing now that how much is possible in college, and I'm excited to see kind of where I'm going to be at the end of that. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to the new community and just like starting fresh and finding those new friends and building lifelong friendships that one day they will be at my wedding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also just becoming a young lady.
That's a good answer.
Cute.
I feel like I saw somebody else's hand.
Parker?
There's one.
Go for it, Parker.
What was one, like, the main thing that changed your attitude towards Jesus? Like, when you went from being, like, just calling yourself Christian to, like, really following Jesus? Like, what was the main thing?
That's good.
The main thing that changed your attitude towards Jesus.
Why are you
Taking-
answered? I feel
Go for it.
Okay, taking sermons seriously, like writing down, taking notes, I think that helped me a lot. And asking questions, like kind of like what I mentioned earlier, talking to people whenever they came up to find those answers. I don't know if there was one moment, but like the sermons at that church camp, right, that I talked about were impactful.
Yeah. Well, and just to reinforce something Jeremiah just said, if you notice, most of these guys have like journals and notebooks with them up here. It's such a good habit to just write down things you want to remember, because you're gonna tell yourself, "Oh, I'm totally gonna remember that great point." You're gonna forget it because you forget most like my messages that I share with you. You're gonna forget like 80 to 90% of it. I just know that. It doesn't mean they're worthless, but it does mean that it's a buildup over time. And if you write it down, you're going to remember those moments that were really impactful to influence you.
Don't forget to look back at them.
And yeah, look back and see all the things you've learned and reflect on it.
Yeah, it's important. The notes don't do anything if they're just sitting there. But yeah, I'd say, I think to Parker's question, was realizing how much Jesus wants me as a friend, and how much He wants to know me personally. I think that a lot of people have a very out there perspective of Jesus and just their faith in general, and just viewing Him as the man who washed His disciples' feet and who did all these things to serve and become a personal God. I think that's just so beautiful, and it's what made me want Him back more, is realizing how much He was pursuing me.
Yeah.
I think if you just like sit down and look at how many like prayers that the Lord has answered for you, you realize like how like He's walking with you in every season of your life. Like you pray and pray and pray and you're like, why is this not getting answered? But then if you look back, you're like, oh, that was answered. Like that is what happened. So I think if you just like look and you just look back and you're like, so it was answered.
There's a reason why God, all throughout the Bible, called His people to remember. Because it's so easy to forget and be like the Israelites did in the Old Testament and be like, oh God, why aren't you with us anymore? But it's like, God was like there like every time before, and like why do you think He's left you now? Like it doesn't work like that.
Also, a fun craft for the girls is to make a prayer board. Me and Maddie made prayer boards, and you write down your prayers, and then you can look back and see which ones are answered, and then put it in an answered pocket.
That's cool.
Go for it.
What was the question again? Can we
Just like
I'm so sorry.
but no, just it was like what was the moment that really like impacted like a moment that impacted your faith in Jesus, something that like, stood out to
Okay.
you.
I feel like my biggest moment when like Jesus actually spoke to me, which I am very privileged to say, like I have literally had Jesus speak to me, is I was sitting in my room. It was literally like the darkest season that I've ever been in, and this was 8 months ago. Me and my boyfriend broke up. My grandpa passed away a week later, completely unexpected. A lot of friendships in my life were just going south. It was a really bad place. I don't know how. My mental health was just not in a good spot overall, both mentally, physically. I just wasn't in a good place. I wasn't eating right. I was hurting myself. It wasn't a good place. And at some point, I literally like sat on my floor and I like cried out to God. Like I was bawling. It was so late at night. I had just hurt myself again. I was like, God, like why is all this bad stuff happening to me? Why is this happening? Why is my brain thinking this way? And God literally spoke into my mind, which is why I wear the necklace that I always do. Jeremiah 29:11, I had never memorized it before, but God spoke the exact words into my mind, and he literally said, like, to me, I know the plans I have for you. They're plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Like, I'm giving you a hope and a future. And ever since then, like, I literally just, like, got goosebumps talking about it, but, like, I literally got goosebumps. My hair on my arms stood up. Like, it genuinely, like, I was in the presence of God, and God spoke to me, and I feel like that's really the moment that I was like, wow, like, the devil has literally been taking over my life. So I feel like just, like, the ability to sit with God and like for him to speak to me in that way is something that I had never experienced before, and I feel like that's the moment that I was like, wow, like this is, yeah.
Definitely. Well, isn't it interesting that the thing that you were doing to yourself was the thing that God spoke over you? It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was a moment.
Yeah. Did you all share? Okay. Do you want to share?
Well, I kind of answered with the come to me.
Yeah.
But that was like the moment when I needed to look into it more, and then there's been times I have also heard God speak to me, but I used to cry for a year every time I thought about his voice, because his voice is so beautiful, and I was crying about something so ironic, and I was home alone, and I was just on my knees, and I was like, God, I don't know what to do, and he just said, my child. But it wasn't just his voice. It was like he like sent emotion through, and his emotion was like, I don't know, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just such, like, he is the God of love, and he is love, and he just like pure love right on me. Yeah.
That's really good. Man, we could keep going, but thank you guys for sharing and just for giving us a little glimpse into your life with Christ. Yeah.